Alrighty, people.
You.
What's happening? What's happening?
How you doing?
Hopefully you are having a fantastic end of your week. As for most of you guys, it's a Sunday night where you are. And we are hyped to have you in the stream and talking Dynasty teams, talking about some moves that we can make to hopefully improve some of your squads. And we're excited to be with you and just hang and get some time to be together, do our thing, do the best that we can.
That's right.
And go into the week the right way. So we appreciate you. We got some people holding us accountable. They're like, hey, the stream starts at 8 p.m. Where the hell are you? That's us. Unfortunately, time is not our strong suit, but I love it. T. Mitch says it's 8:05. Be better. Big Riley says it's 8:01. Why haven't they started now? We love the accountability.
If there was a gap, if there was like approximately, would you rather have that or an actual time? Probably an actual time. But yeah, hey, we got lives. We have lives.
No, we're doing our best, and I know people are just having fun. What's up, WG?
Yeah.
Welcome in. What's up, Joseph? Welcome in. We see Joshua in the chat. Tom says just the stream he needed. You love to see it. What's up, Keegan? We might do a Q&A at the end, my man. Not right now, though. What's up, David? He says March Madness. What? It's always football season, man. I'm normally into March Madness. I just can't. There's so many other things going on in my life right now.
It's just not great.
No, I'm sure it's fantastic. It's just so much going on. No worries, Mitch. I get you. All right, guys. Tonight, we are going to be helping people with their Dynasty teams. It's very, very simple if you want your team on a stream like this. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I put a direct link in the chat. When you become a member, you get access to all of the articles, all the databases on the site, including our 2024 rookie report. Version 3.0 is the latest report that we have put on the site. Lots of information over there about the rookie class. You also get unlimited access to our rankings, right? You can filter if you want to look at only younger players, if you want to build, some vets, in your roster, whatever you want to do, you can go ahead and do that. You also get unlimited access to the trade calculator where you can use our rankings when you're making trades. All of that, as well as unlimited access to our Discord. All right, so all the channels that we offer, you would unlock, including the roster submissions tab. This tab right here is where you submit your team. Of course, keep in mind when you sign up, you go to the top right, you link your Discord and account, and that is what's going to allow you to unlock all of our Discord premium channels. Last thing I'll say is if you do sign up, we would suggest to click the instant access button when signing up. Otherwise, you're just going to have to wait through a trial in order for your team to be eligible for review. But that instant access button is there for you if you like it. But first team that we are reviewing today is Masterlehn, and he says, look, my kids are probably in the bath, so I don't know how long I'll be able, or, when I'll be able to view or respond. Totally okay.
Excuses.
No, stop it.
That's what I hear, excuses.
Everyone's got a busy life, and we totally understand. But the good news is this stream will never die. It'll never be deleted, so you'll always be able to view it.
Exactly.
We always tell people, hey, if you're not able to be on the stream, totally okay. Bookmark the stream. You'll be able to watch it whenever you want to at any moment. You can even bookmark it and look next year and be like, did these guys actually give me good advice? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But we're going to review his team, so why don't we walk through it, Badaki? Yeah, and by the way, do us a favor, hit that like button on this fine Sunday night. We got a like goal of 50. We're at 14 right now. With your help, I think we might be able to get there. So hit that like button for the boys. But let's read this context here.
Here we go. 12-team PPR SuperFlex tight end premium, 2 point per reception. I'm assuming that's for all. Well, I'm assuming that's for the tight end there. So it's a 2 point per reception on the tight end premium. We'll definitely clarify that maybe later.
Yeah.
2 running backs, 2 wide receiver.
Wait,
quarterback,
what was your question
2 running backs.
on that? Sorry, what did you say?
If that was the 2 point reception via only the tight ends, not for the whole league.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, 4 flex, meaning you can start up to 7 wide receivers in this league. So it's a pretty deep league here. What's that? 1, 2. What's that? 3. We'll figure it out after.
It's
Quick maths.
It's a 12 start league.
Start 12. Okay. Context: how my team was formatted. This is an orphan team I took on right before the 2023 rookie draft. I made some trades before last rookie draft. Took back from the 102 and received the 105, the 111, the 112. Ended up drafting Stroud at the 105. That is huge. Addison at the 107. Picked I own already Kincaid and Devon Achane. That's a good start so far. I also traded away Chase and TJ Hawkinson for Kyler Murray, Breece Hall, plus multiple firsts. Those turned out to be the 102 to 106 in this year's draft, which is phenomenal. I did not have a quarterback outside of Mac Jones when I took this team over. My team also has its future picks. My team also had its future picks traded, so I don't have 25 or 26 first. I ended up trading Michael Mayer and Isaiah Likely for a 25 first back. That's a good trade, personally. A great trade. After Andrews was injured, I knew my team was going to suck in 2023, but I positioned myself for a massive rebuild with the 2024 rookie draft. I have lots of draft capital, and my squad definitely can use the picks to replenish the depth on my team, especially at wide receiver. I have not been in Dynasty very long, 3 total years. Okay, that's not bad. And this is my first orphan rebuild having taken on. Currently have 4 picks in the top 6. You can see 102 essentially to the 106. And I have the 202 and other later picks, 10 total picks in 2024. My team probably needs them so I can cut a lot of players on my roster. We'll love to see what advice you guys made having regarding my draft picks and options of any trade ideas to improve my roster. I love the whiteboard when I've watched past videos on your team reviews, and it's giving multiple scenarios to try. I appreciate the content from you guys. Your channel provides me.
What can I say? I'm a genius. All right. What can I say? Just in 100 years, they'll say that guy was so influential in the Dynasty community. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
But yeah, and then he goes on saying that he might not be on the stream for reviewing the line. All good, man. We appreciate you there, Master. And
2 children under the age of 3.
He
says, congrats to you on the new child.
Hey, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Quick popper, aren't you? Quick popper.
Imagine you had 2 kids under the age of 3. That would be
I told Ellen, honestly, I think it's the smartest thing. Why have a 3, 4, 5-year-old and you just get your sleep back and then say, you know what? Let's have another child so we don't sleep again for another 5 years. No, you got to pump it out back to back, and that's easier said than done because I'm a male. I'm not birthing the child. Just my thought process. Yeah. Just my thought process,
Yeah, well, maybe we'll start Fantasyland parenting channel. Some parenting tips from Badaki. Eric says, this is my team of any questions. Thanks for the review. Awesome. Eric, hey. Any questions you want to throw in as you go, we are here for you, but no pressure to obviously do so. First thing I'll say is the fact that you had no 25, no 26 picks, and you had Mac Jones as your best quarterback when you took over this team, quite frankly, you're doing very good on your own already, like to rebuild this team. A lot of those trades sound like best case scenario, and it sounds like you really pivoted in ways that were very beneficial to your team in the long run. But let's have a look at this team. And keeping in mind, it is a start 12 league.
Yes.
That is huge. That is massive. And not only start 12, but it's a 12-team start 12 and a 2-point per reception league. That actually makes more sense when you think about the Mayer trade. 2 PPR is pretty drastic.
I would agree there.
I'm happy with the 1.5, but 2 seems pretty crazy to me.
2 is pretty insane.
Len22 is a team name there, so he's ranked 3rd. Yeah. Oh my God, look at this league. I can honestly say I have never seen a league with this much of like someone who had a hold. I have never in my life seen a league where someone is 99 and there's not a single person in the 70s. Multiple in the 50, multiple. You've got 2 guys in the 30s. Wow. But what does this guy at Team 1 have? So this guy has a bunch of future picks.
Yeah, I think it's really weighed on those future picks. I mean, the team's good.
The team
is the tight end. I think what is really important here is the tight ends. Look at the tight ends that he has. That is a 2-point tight end premium. You don't need the wide receivers when you think about it. TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram. These guys are going to be your heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Right? Evan Ingram led the tight end position in targets and receptions this past year. I wonder where he would finish in a 2-point premium or a 2-point per reception.
Well, I could do the math, but I'm going to do it wrong, and then people are going to yell at me in the comments later. So We're not going to try. Just kidding. But this team is great. I'll be honest, it doesn't look like the team that we typically would be like, holy crap, this team has a stronghold on the rest of the league. But it clearly is the best team of anyone here by far. But nevertheless, just because there's a monster doesn't mean we can't slay said monster.
Absolutely, 100%.
Quarterbacks.
Call me the
CJ
damsel.
Stroud, Kyler Murray, Mac Jones. A strong 1-2, no quarterback 3. We can talk about that, but a very strong 1-2 in CJ and Kyler. I think 9.9 out of 10 people who had that in a SuperFlex league would be very, very happy. At running back, we got Brees, Devon Achane. That's a good one too. Hey, Gus could have a role, so that's fun. And you know, Keaton with Derek being there is pretty much GG's. At wide receiver, Ayuk, Addison, a great top, but it really falls off quickly. And at tight end, you got Kincaid. So in the tight end premium, 2 point per reception. I mean, his ceiling is through. There's no end to his ceiling if things really start to pop for him and Josh Allen. So I like that. So good foundational pieces, Badaki, but certainly some work to do. But a huge amount of picks to make that work happen.
102, 3, 4, and 6.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Zachary said, "Sorry, I'm late to the party. Did I miss it?" No, this is Masterlehn22 Team. He was the first team we are looking at today. So don't worry. If we tied you, you'll still be happening today. Eric said, "Yeah, there is one team far and away better because he has tight ends for days." Which makes sense.
I think that's really the difference here. I mean, he has Chase and CeeDee and Josh Allen and Hurts. But I think, once you get a couple pieces here, it really just changes things.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you traded away.
Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
No, I'm assuming that Michael Mayer trade and likely was for one of these 25 firsts for this guy here.
Yeah, you got his own pick back.
So which is not bad.
Let's just say, you should feel pretty good about what you've done so far. Let's just start there. This league, man, my concern is how long is this league going to last? Just being really honest with you.
I think there's different scenarios for different people. Like a lot of these teams in the bottom here, some of them don't even have their 25 firsts. I think Team 9 doesn't have their 25 first.
11.
Team 11 doesn't have their 25 first. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys are going to build around them here.
Hopefully this is a group of really good people that you trust, because this would scare me a little bit, but it doesn't mean that you can't figure this out. Hey, as long as those people are committed, then there won't be any problem. But look at the draft picks that we've got. I mean, we're about to build a incredible team. In fact, I think that the rating of 67 is not accurate. I don't think Keep Trade Cut did a good job of rating your team compared to the rest of the league. You should be well into the 70s, if not 81 or something compared to this guy.
Yeah, I would agree. I would completely agree.
But should we bring out the whiteboard? Because
I think this is kind of where it starts off, honestly. I think breaking it down, and even with the first scenario here with just stick and pick, it's just going to be a huge turn of events when you in these first 5 picks alone.
Your team is going to look completely different and for the better. Absolutely. So why don't we walk through scenario 1? Eric said, by the way, so actually a pretty active league, lots of trades, but the top guy took advantage of people when the league was started, from what I was told. And that is not that uncommon, to be honest. A lot of people getting into Dynasty, there's probably one who's well aware of what they're doing, and there's probably quite a few that don't know. And can you blame the guy for building the best team? Would I not do the same? I probably would. But let's talk about this, because you've got a ton of opportunities to improve this team. I'd say your main weakness is QB3 and your wide receiver room. I think that's really your main weaknesses. So I actually don't know I'm making all these picks, but we'll talk about that. At the 102, correct me if I'm wrong, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
And if Caleb is there, we're not taking Caleb under any circumstance.
I mean, you kind of control the draft here from picks 2, 3, and 4. So I think either way, you're going to get a wide receiver. You can get 2 wide receivers and a quarterback here. Sorry to interrupt there.
No, I agree. This is exactly how I was playing it out as well. I would go Daniels or May here, and then I would go Malik Neighbors, and then that's going to leave me probably with Rome Odunze. Although Brock Bowers in a 2-point premium.
That's what I was going to say. Let's find out what team has the 105 here.
I think Bowers will probably be gone at the 105 in this premium.
Who has
regardless of that person's team. Although
I'm just interested if maybe they are in need of anything else. Am I tripping that I'm not seeing it? Okay, team 6.
They just had it in a weird order, yeah.
Hot drops.
Oh, he needs.
He has Deshaun Matthew Stafford. Yeah, I think he might need.
He also needs tight end though. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's going to be interesting. I mean,
he also has the 107, so he could play it the same way you could, as far as like you make the decision for me type vibe.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But yeah, I think in this premium, I'm still going Neighbors over Bowers, but it's close, and that could change. I mean, look, if Bowers does actually go to the Chargers with the 5th overall pick, we don't think that happens. But if he does and Neighbors goes to Chicago, like some people are predicting, which that feels too cut and dry. I don't feel like those are going to happen. But if it does, I think in this premium, a full point, you can make a huge reason as to why Bowers is over Neighbors in that format.
Right.
But yeah, so Marvin for sure at the 102, assuming he's the best available. You can go Daniels or May at the 103. But you know what you could do, to be honest, Badaki? I'd actually play this differently. I just realized how I'm playing this.
Yeah. I'm thinking this as well. Let's see if we're on the same page.
Yeah, so we're going Marvin, Malik, Brock, Bowers. And then you're making the decision for us at the 105.
Exactly.
And we'll take home Daniels or May.
100%.
That is even if beautiful.
Because since it's a tight end premium, I was going to say maybe we prioritize Brock Bowers. We prioritize both of those wide receivers and Brock Bowers. And then it doesn't matter which quarterback falls to us.
Absolutely.
At the 106 there. So I think that is phenomenal.
Is so hot. I want your team now. Like looking at what we just did. I mean, think about this. Now your team, and this is so crazy we're able to do this, but now your team, all of a sudden, you've got Mayor Daniels as your quarterback 3, along with Stroud and Kyler Murray. Your running backs haven't changed, and that's completely fine. At wide receiver, you've got Marvin, Malik, Brandon Ayuk is now your 3, Addison is your 4, and at tight end, you've got Kincaid, and you've also got Bowers, which, by the way, you can flex one of those guys in this type of premium. You can absolutely flex them. So we're talking about how you can start 7 wide receivers. You can also start multiple tight ends if you have multiple good tight ends as well. So that's a hot start in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree here. I was just looking at who has the 101 team 5.
I saw that.
Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love. I wouldn't be surprised if he does go Marvin Harrison Jr. So maybe in the second scenario, we'll definitely talk about that. And see which other way we could potentially go there.
I believe that's a possibility. But I will just say, if that team, like, I said this a couple weeks ago after the Fields trade was completed, whenever that was. I don't remember when that was. But it's my opinion that by the time people are actually drafting, Caleb will be the consensus 101 regardless of your needs on your roster. Again,
I'm telling you,
there has never been a number 1 overall pick who has stepped into this good of a situation.
I would also say, sorry, continue. Yeah.
All I'm saying is in a SuperFlex format, I don't care if you have 4 quarterbacks and you love all of them. Caleb Williams is going to be the most valuable player from April to September, without doubt in my mind. Unquestionably, he's going to be the most valuable player in SuperFlex leagues in this rookie class. So even if you don't need him, if you want to trade him or trade a star that you already have, then I just think if people are going to put the pieces together, and this whole talk of Marvin or Caleb, it will be Caleb. Regardless of what the outcome is, regardless if Marvin ends up being the better player, Caleb will be the unquestioned 101 regardless of what people have.
Yeah. Look, I can definitely see that. No question about it. One thing I was going to say was that with those reports, I mean, and I'm not sure how true it is about the Patriots being open to trade back, that gives it more of an opportunity for, if the Patriots don't like their trade, they take Marvin Harrison Jr., and then we'll kind of see that flip. This is probably not regarding this team. I think just in general.
Sure.
Seeing that flip and maybe Malik Neighbors go. Let's just say Malik Neighbors goes to the Chargers, and Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the Patriots, I think a lot of people in the fantasy community are going to want Malik Nabers just based off quarterback.
Yeah, their conviction will change overnight.
1,000%. And that's going to change a lot of things. And I'm not saying this person, your guy at the 101, is going to be taking Marvin Harrison Jr. But if that scenario does happen, does that switch to Malik Nabers going 101, which I doubt.
Why don't we talk about that scenario too? Which, as crazy as it sounds,
I think a lot of people will do that if that actually does happen.
Well, I was going to say, just like as crazy as it sounds, you are actually getting the most value out of your picks if this actually happens. So I don't actually think I would change anything. I would still go Caleb, Malik, Bowers, and then whatever quarterback falls to me. I would still play out that same exact world. I don't know if you would change anything, but that's what I would do. And hey, I mean, if people want to look at trades with me, well, okay, like, can I pivot off of Stroud, as crazy as that sounds? Like, what is Stroud able to give me in the wide receiver room? Or what could I move Kyler Murray for at some point? If people don't believe in a Caleb, or let's say you get Daniels or whatever it is, then there is so much flexibility with your roster. And yes, we are building a very good team here, but there are still some very clear needs on this team, specifically when you talk about how big the starting lineup is. The starting lineup, you can start 7 wide receivers. So at the end of the day, there's not a scenario here where you lose. And in fact, if the person is not going to go Caleb Williams at the 101, you will have more overall value on your team anyway by this scenario playing out. It doesn't look as good because you don't have the exact answers yet to the trades that you'll make. Scenario 1's cut and dry, right? But scenario 2 is like way more flexibility and moves that you could make. Eric said it's 50-50 if team 1 takes Caleb or Marvin, but this was my dream scenario if Marvin was available at the 102. I'm assuming I think he sent that when we were looking at scenario 1.
Scenario 1, yeah.
So yeah, there's not a wrong way to go here. And in fact, I'm more interested in if the guy actually does go Marvin 101 because I have so much flexibility with my team at that point. There are the world of trades that open up are endless if that were to happen. But at the 202, I think you and I would agree, like, best wide receiver, right?
Yeah, best wide receiver there at the 202. I think just best player available, maybe. I mean, I would say this, I would be on the fence if Trey does go to the Cowboys or something along those lines. Even though I know you technically have Breece Hall and Devon, but yes, I think with the wide receiver and how deep this is, you would go wide receiver here.
Yeah, and I think some names that you could potentially anticipate being there, Troy Franklin could fall. If Worthy doesn't go round 1, he might be there, but it feels like he is going round 1. More and last week we said he doesn't feel like he is. This week it's like, actually, he kind of feels like he is. So it's hard to know what's real and what's not at this point. But you still have really good names there. Roman Wilson will be there. Polk, Ricky Pearsall, Jermaine Burton. Maybe a Adonai Falls or Troy Falls. Those are the kind of names you could be looking at. Keon Coleman if he goes round 1. Tez Walker. Those are the kind of names that you'll probably be considering. But yeah, you're right. There's a scenario where running back is the best player available.
Yeah, it just depends on how the NFL draft goes. But I mean, you have decent amount of draft picks here already in the top 5. You literally have 3 out of the top 5 picks that we would want. Been telling a lot of people to get into. So I think this is phenomenal.
You bet on the right class, big time.
Yeah, and getting this guy, especially locking in Brock Bowers.
Oh yeah, Brock Bowers is on your team. He's on your team. In this format, 2 points per reception, lock it in. He is on your team.
Yeah, I would agree here.
Honestly, I was about to think about scenarios where we trade out of these picks, but I actually don't feel like I would do that with this team. I don't know how you feel, but I just don't know that I would actually trade out of any of these picks.
There's only one team I think it's a natural pivot, potentially. Yes, look, do I want to trade out of these picks? Probably not. But if I can get something along these lines, which was technically Team 6 hot drops.
Okay, yeah.
He has, the only reason why I say this because he doesn't have the best quarterback room. He has the 105. He's going to get a quarterback. Hey, do you want something else? Can I get a Monron St. Brown in the 107 for one of my picks? Like, do we want
more? But
yeah, I mean, and when I say one of these picks, like, it just really depends on which one he really values. I don't necessarily believe you should. I don't know if I'm doing that for a Monron in the 107 for the 10. Like, would you do that for the 102, 103? I'm not sure if I'm doing that.
Oh yeah, I would do that.
But it just all depends on how he values that pick, because I think Amon-Ra is a top 4 wide receiver in the league, in the community right now. Him locking a proven asset and still having a top 7 pick, that's exciting. But the 107, who is that? Right? Like, now you question yourself of losing Brock Bowers, you question yourself of losing Michael Mayer, and moving back to get I doubt Rome Duze is going to be at the 107, but what Adonai Mitchell then goes, the Lad McConkey at the 107. I guess it kind of brings you into that second tier when you already have yourself in that first tier, but you gain a proven asset in the league already. I think it just depends.
I was actually on the opposite side of that, in the sense of, like, I don't think you have any leverage in this sort of format, because the 107 is so strong in this format. Bowers is going to be off the board, so a quarterback or a wide receiver that you love is going to fall there. So I actually just don't think there's any leverage in this format specifically. We've talked about pivoting back a lot with people's teams, but this format, 2 point per reception for a tight end, that will push really good players down to the 107. At worst, you're getting Rome Odunze. I think that's in someone's mind. At the 105, you're probably playing the scenario out in your head. You're going to get a quarterback at one of those picks. So I don't know. I actually don't think there is a ton of leverage in this league to pivot back.
With the 101, is it crazy for that person to take Brock Bowers there?
Yes.
I'm not saying I would do that, but like.
But if he does, you're ending up with Marvin and Caleb. So, like, let people make stupid mistakes. But I think it's crazy.
And
got Kyle Pitts already.
And I think Master already said, I think it's Eric in the chat, 50-50 if he takes Caleb or Marvin Harrison. So that's good.
Yeah.
I think that is a perfect scenario either way. Whether he takes Brock Bowers with the 101 or either one of those quarterback or wide receivers, you're still getting phenomenal value there in depth.
I think normally we would talk about let's trade these picks, and use some of them, but I don't know, like, I personally just don't see a scenario in which we trade away these picks. I mean, always be open to offers. Like, if someone is going to send you the farm for any of these picks, be open to it, but it's not something I would be, like, actively pursuing, because I know my team is going to drastically improve in this draft. So I wouldn't spend a lot of, like, time and effort into, like, into pursuing those trades. But of course, if anyone is willing to send the farm for these picks, then you're 100% open to it. But I think that is more of like if it happens to me, I'm open. I'm not really pursuing it. And if those deals were to be sent out, feel free to use your fantasy hotline to ask us questions about them. But it's not a scenario I would personally be exploring all that much. I think what we can talk about is some pivots from his team.
Yeah.
Did you just type in whiteboard?
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I was actually trying to search up emojis whiteboards, but I actually sent it in the chat.
Oh, that would be cool. Maybe we should end that. The emojis are so small though. But yeah, I think Addison, you talked about as a pivot name.
You do something like that. Yes, pivot name.
And I would actually even throw out, like, it's gonna sound crazy, CJ Stroud as a pivot, not because we don't love him, but just to test the market. Okay, please, no one go out, go crazy on me for saying it, but like, test the market. Like, I know you're the Addison dude, but I'll just talk about Stroud real quick as like a pivot. So if we were to pivot off of him, I'm still trying to stay in like that range of quarterback. Like, I'd pivot to any of the following names: Lamar, Burrow, Hurts, Herbert, Love even. obviously the further down I go, the more I'm expecting in return.
Right. Exactly.
A-Rich, you don't have A-Rich right now, so I would add A-Rich to that offer. So why don't I just quickly look at some of these teams and like we'll just see what sort of value you might expect in return. So for example, Team 5 has Anthony Richardson and Jordan Love. Is there a way that we can get a AJ Brown involved, a Garrett Wilson involved? Those are the two names, or even a Bijan Robinson.
I think he traded his 101, or unless that's another person.
Who? Sorry.
I think he traded that 101 pick, didn't he? Did he say that? Or am I remembering wrong?
I don't remember that. Where was that?
I know he traded away Chase and Hawkinson.
Oh, okay, yeah. But like for Jordan Love, for example, that guy's probably going to want to hold on to Jordan Love. But can I send CJ for Jordan Love plus, and we'll talk about what that plus is. Is there a way we can get Garrett Wilson on this team? We're going to have to send something back in return to make this happen. But I'm curious what Keep Trade Cut would say. Would you do that? Like the 202, man, you might have to go like Jordan Addison there. Would you do that? Jordan Addison.
I think I would rather
CJ.
I think I would rather wait and then pivot off of Addison later on a later point than getting Jordan Love and Garrett Wilson.
I guess this isn't really achieving exactly what we want to do because we're trying to build depth. So that's not really achieving exactly what we want to do, but let's look at some of these other teams then. We talked about Lamar, Burrow, Hurts, Herbert. Let me see where these guys are.
I think Hurts is undoable that he's going to Team 1.
Team 1 he's on?
Like Hurts is on Team 1, so I'm not sure if that's achievable. In my opinion.
If you could get Chase or Lamb involved, I would explore that, but it is probably not going to happen. If you can get Lamar and Puka involved in the deal, you can talk about that. Just throwing out these ideas. I think Burrow is very disrespected in the community right now. Like, I think Burrow and Drake London is a great... Burrow and Drake London. Now, you probably have to add, like, the 202 to this. I wonder what Keep Trade Cut would say. And, of course, we don't use them often ourselves, but it is still the most used calculator in the industry, in the community, right? So Burrow, London. So they say your side is still more valuable. I would 100% do that trade if it was available to me.
It's because CJ Stroud is worth everyone and its mom.
Yeah,
but so, like, you're tearing down twice technically.
Do you feel bad tearing down from Stroud to Burrow though? I feel comfortable with it.
No, I don't feel. No, I'm okay with Stroud and Burrow. I think where I would be more hesitant is like if I like Love, like I would need Love and then a really good wide receiver, Anthony Richardson and a really good wide receiver. But Joe Burrow feels really safe in the quarterback room specifically. I think Love feels more safe than Anthony Richardson, even though Richardson's ceiling is higher. That's how I feel at the moment.
Yeah, I have Love one spot ahead. But I don't think they're worlds apart.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Okay, any other teams that make sense here? Let me double check. I think that's really the main team that you should explore.
Yeah, I would agree. Actually, yeah. I was gonna say I would even just explore like lower tier QB3s, but you're gonna get one in the draft regardless. So there's no point of trading for a lower tier quarterback.
Okay, how about Jordan Addison then?
Yeah, Jordan Addison. Obviously, you guys, you know how I've been feeling with Jordan Addison. I think he's a good pivot off player, but I do have a different maybe scenario of where you can potentially wait. But I'll give you the scenario where you should pivot off now if you really wanted to. Here are a couple names that I would pivot to if I personally could. Rashee Rice, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, DJ Moore. Those are the names I feel really confident in. I mean, you can talk about Zay Flowers if you wanted to, or T. Higgins. But all those names, honestly, the list can go on even longer if I really wanted to go, but those are some names that we could potentially do. Obviously, all based off of how these people value Jordan Addison. And if you can get that done for just a clean swap, or maybe throwing like one of your picks in there, like the 303 or something like that. I think you have the 303. I'm willing to give that up to acquire someone that I feel more safer in at the quarterback position, like a Rashee Rice, like a Tank Dell, like a Nico Collins, and that you pair up there, right? You have a nice little stack with CJ or Tank or CJ or Nico, and that's based off of just community rankings, right? Those are the names that are around Jordan Addison. Now, what you can potentially do is, with all the rumors going on right now, is wait. If the Vikings really do trade it for a top 5 pick, and that is JJ McCarthy or Drake May or Jaden Daniels, Jordan Addison's values rises back up again, and then you can pivot potentially even higher. I don't know how high, right? I don't know if people are really going to change, but like, would you then can you then get a Brandon Ayuk, a Jalen Waddle, right? A Chris Olave? I still will feel really more confident in all those guys potentially than Jordan Addison here, who's going to be getting a new quarterback. Not because I don't believe in him, but just because I feel more comfortable in some of these other guys' situations over Jordan Addison. But just really depends on what you want to do there.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to these kind of deals, but I would say I would only pursue deals that get you an extra wide receiver you like, or valuable picks. Otherwise, I'd just hold. You know?
Yeah, okay.
But I actually wonder if Ayuk is a better pivot at this point. Not that we don't love Brandon Ayuk, because we do. You know, we had that debate the other day on stream that some people loved.
Right, with Ayuk and AJ Brown, right?
So
yeah, look, Ayuk could be the pivot option there as well, but like, I don't think you can. Like, you thinking about sending Addison plus something to get Brandon Ayuk?
No, we already have Ayuk.
Oh, we do.
So I was more talking about him as a pivot option.
As a pivot option. Okay, sorry. I was thinking of. I didn't realize he had Brandon Ayuk. Sorry.
Yeah, wide receiver 13 on Flock Fantasy community rankings. Ayuk is wide receiver 13 on Keep Trade Cut as well. So to me, there's a big tier of guys I'd pivot to and ask for more draft capital. I mean, Rashee Rice was the number one name that came to mind. Rashee Rice plus, now that Hollywood Brown is there. I mean, that's the trade I'm doing, and I'm not even thinking twice about it. You could extend that to Michael Pittman, Tank Dell. Like, those are the kind of moves in your format that I really like, because we do actually need a significant amount of depth in this type of format. So those kind of moves would benefit us. I would even say George Pickens plus I'd be willing to explore. So like the guy who has Rashee Rice, let's see who has Rashee Rice in this league. If you can help me find him.
Yeah, I'm looking for that. Team 10.
You could also add DJ Moore there, by the way. So Team 10 has him. So Team 10 has Rashee Rice. Now, this team is quite limited in the pivots that we can make. But if we can, for example, get Rashee Rice plus a 2025 first, and we have to send Ayuk plus a third or a 2025 second, I think that's worth doing. I would 100% be open to that. Who has Tank Dell and George Pickens? Because I think George Pickens might get you the most return based off community value right now.
George Pickens. Trying to find here. Brother George, where are you?
Team 6 has Michael Pittman. Can you get Michael Pittman and Jackson Smith and Jigba right now when people are super low on him?
Where is George Pickens? I don't see him. Oh, here we go. Team 4.
Team 4?
Yeah.
Team 4, the guy has Pickens, Hollywood, I don't really love that. But how about Pickens in the 111, for example? What would you feel about that? Ayuk for Pickens in the 111. In most formats, I wouldn't do that. In this format where I can start 7 wide receivers, I would do that.
I think that's where I would want to keep Ayuk.
Okay.
And then see if I can tear down.
So my question is Pickens or Lad McConkey, and Lad McConkey or Ayuk in this format. Start 7 wide receivers. Pickens and Lad McConkey or Ayuk.
I guess it just depends on how many wide receivers he would technically have. Well, he was only adding 2. So Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Addison,
he still has quite a bit way to go with his depth.
So he would have 3 more wide receivers he needs to add, technically.
If you can get the 109, that's even better. But for me, I think that benefits your league in particular a lot.
Yep.
But yeah, those are the kind of moves I think I would look at. Whoever has Tank Dell, can we find that real quick? That's team 2. Can I get Dell and Reed? I would do that.
Well, this guy has Tank Dell and Nico Collins, so maybe he gets his. But I mean, he has a lot of people that you want. You know, Tank Dell, Nico, Jayden Waddle's a good one. Jaden Reed's a good one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that you kind of would want to build off of there, and he's going to get more wide receivers at the 108 and the 110 as well.
So yeah, I definitely think there are pivot options out there. You just have to open doors and see what doors are actually open to being opened, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think I don't know if Eric is in the chat. Let us know if there's anything that we didn't cover. But I think we covered everything that came to mind for us. But of course, we want to make sure we're covering everything that you wanted us to cover, because obviously we appreciate the support big time.
Yeah, just have another look at if he said anything else in his description here. I would just say it might be best to just like continue to build off of what's happening on, you know?
Yeah. He said, no, you guys gave me great options. Appreciate you for everything. So that's awesome. That is what we want to hear.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So why don't we go on to the next team then? We appreciate you, Masterlehn. Again, guys, if you want your team reviewed by us with...
That's awesome.
Use
your hotline, by the way.
Yeah, use your hotline if you have any questions. If you want your team viewed by us, it's very, very simple. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. We just put a direct link in the chat. So again, when you become a Mother Flocker member with the code LAND, you get our rookie report, a Dynasty team review on a live stream, unlimited access to the trade calculator. You get a personalized DM from us, our complete rankings. You get to be a part of our Dynasty trade show we do every month. You get unlimited access to the Discord. What I will say is, if you are going to sign up, I would strongly encourage you to choose the instant access button, because the instant access button gives you instant access to a team review. If you wait on the trial, that's completely fine, but you have to wait for the trial end to get your team reviewed. Once you do sign up, go to account, link your Discord, and then you should be able to see all of our premium Discord channels, including the roster submissions tab, just like we have here with Masterlehn. All right, next team we're looking at is ZaddyDaddy.
ZaddyDaddy.
ZaddyDaddy is getting reviewed today, and you love to see it.
I'm pretty sure he's in the chat as well. Make sure you let us know that you are in the chat. We appreciate you. And I'll go ahead and start reading this.
Do us a favor, hit that like button if you're watching on this Sunday night. Very simple way for you to help this channel grow.
The Lord's Day, huh?
25 likes. Let's get to 30 at least. Let's get 5 more likes. At least 30, if you can help us.
Let's do something special.
But we appreciate you. Let's get on to this next team here. And Zachary Briggs says, what's up, boys? I'm here. He says, bless the Lord.
Terrence, all right.
I love to see it.
We appreciate you guys. And breaking down this context here, this is 12-team SuperFlex PPR start 10 deep benches, ESPN scoring, by the way. Quarterback 2, running backs 3, wide receivers, a tight end 2 flex, so you can start up to 5 wide receivers. Once again, we like to start
10, yeah, yep.
Yeah, we like to start wide receivers in the flex position. If you guys are watching this now or later, we just prefer having those wide receivers in those flex positions over the running back position. How the team was formed. Drafted 2 seasons ago, I absolutely tanked the startup and went way too young. I have 3 wins over the last 2 seasons. My goodness. I have traded like crazy to get the team where I am now. Lost some trades, won some trades. Overall, I think I fixed it up pretty well.
Nice.
Looking for some overall moves to make the team compete this year, at least make a push at the playoffs. Long-term play are also okay. My thoughts moving forward, wait out the field situation and hope he takes over in 2020.
Sorry to interrupt. Let's wait to hear what he thinks before and after we see his team.
Okay.
Just so like we can see his team and then be like, okay, this is what you're thinking. If we have a different opinion, we can say that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So his team name is T Law, Breaking T Law here. And his team is Team 6.
Another league that is just grabbed by the balls by one guy.
I mean, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown.
I've never seen someone ranked 28 out of 100.
Shout out to Glory Hole Heroes, family-friendly stream. I don't know what that means though.
I've never heard of that in my life. Wouldn't
Same.
even know a thing.
I've never heard of that.
I don't even know what holes mean. Breaking T-Law here. So, remember, this is a SuperFlex start 10.
Start 10. Yeah, SuperFlex start 10 here. All right, so let's break it down. Breaking T-Law ranked 52nd, or 50 through 52 out of 100, essentially. Ranked 6. Quarterbacks Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields. You're trying to make a push to compete this year, okay? Keep that in mind. Running backs, by the way, quarterbacks not terrible. I think you do have 2 decent starting quarterbacks, so that is something you can wait on. And Justin Fields, if he does get that start, that would be interesting. Running backs here: Joe Mixon, Tajay Spears, Nick Chubb, Big O Roscoe, Damian Pearson. The list goes on there. I like Joe Mixon as a hidden gem type of player. He might be coming on a video here for me very soon. Tajay Spears, Nick Chubb, and Roscoe there. Not the strongest wide receiver room, but nothing too crazy for me to say that you need to go fix this, in my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I'm saying, like, if
fine.
Like,
I don't know that I'll be honest, so far looking at the quarterbacks and running backs, I'm not 100% sure that I feel good about competing.
Sure.
But I'm not saying that we can't. I'm kind of like on the edge right now.
Yeah. Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Calvin Ridley, QJ, and the list kind of just goes there. Remember, you can start
a lot of draft picks to compete.
You can start up to 5 wide receivers in this league here, and there's already 2 wide receivers that are in question. Right? And Jackson Smith and Jigba and Quentin. Is Quentin even a starter, right? So Garrett Wilson and Calvin Ridley are really...
Is Quentin even real? Or do we make him up in our mind? Is he even a real person? Has anyone actually seen him in real life?
I've seen him.
Okay. You heard it here first.
And the Titans, David Njoku here. So look, right off the bat, without any context that you're thinking of, I would agree with kind of where Zach is going. Can this team compete? Can you at least make it to the playoffs?
Maybe.
I don't think you can, brother. I mean, I'm looking at team 2. Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Bijan, Kenneth Walker, Pacheco, Chris Olave, Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman, George Kittle. I don't know. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson in team 3. JT Monty, Puka, DJ, T. Higgins, Christian Kirk with Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews. I don't know about that. Team 4. CJ, okay, we might have a window here. CJ, this is where it falls off.
You might sneak into the 5th or 6th seed.
Yeah, you might. I would argue team 5 is better than team 4.
Team 8 is actually probably in a better competing window than you are, actually. But let's read what he had to say.
Sure.
My thoughts moving forward: wait out the field situation and hope he takes over in 2025 or sooner. So I have 3 solid quarterbacks. I feel like I'm okay at running back for the team build. Wide receiver will be my strength of this team in a year or 2. I plan to take wide receiver at the 103. Malik Adunze, landing spot may flip-flop that thinking for me. If the quarterbacks get dream landing spots and the wide receivers get shitty ones, and lets either May or Daniels fall to me at the 105 and choose. I also had the 107, but I paired that with Watson to grab Lawrence. going to take flyers at running back and wide receiver throughout the draft. Would love some targets for draft capital as well. The league is very active, but has 2 juggernauts that hoard all depth and elite players. Okay. Okay, so let me just think this through for a second. I'm trying to, in my head, think if I genuinely believe you can compete this year.
I think you can compete. I think you could sneak into that 4 or 5 spot like you said. I think the top 3 teams are teams that I personally right now, if you had to put them back to back, I don't think you can beat with your current roster.
See, that's the thing. I actually think we can make the playoffs. Potentially. We might get a 5th or 6th seed. And by the way, a lot of things have to go right. But we are not competing for a championship by any means. And the things that have to go right is like these rookies have to hit. And we do think it's a very good class. But you are really relying on these rookies to hit. You got a lot of 5th-round picks, but those are guys working at McDonald's, so those really don't matter too much.
It's a McDonald's, huh?
We got 225 first next year, by the way, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to go Neighbors or a Dunze at the 103, but the issue is that's probably not best player available. It might be, but if Jaden Daniels does go number 2 overall and may go to the Vikings or whatever, that's probably not the move you should make, especially with the team that has Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, and Justin Fields. Clearly, you need help at wide receiver, though. Look, I guess you could go Neighbors and then whatever quarterback falls to you. That's probably what he was saying there.
But I don't think the quarterback. Well,
Daniels or May.
Quarterbacks. Yeah, but he has the 106. Oh, he has the 106.
105 is what it says here.
He has the 105. Sorry, I apologize. 105. I was looking at the wrong team. 105. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So I think that is probably the route he's talking about, and that's probably fine. You need help with your wide receiver room. Neighbors for me is an elite prospect, so I don't mind that. Now, obviously the draft will change things, right? And we'll have better answers to those questions at the draft. But that makes a lot of sense if that's the way that you want to go. But let's say it does play out this way, and you do add Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels, for example. So Jaden Daniels is definitely going to improve your quarterback room. That feels very good because you've got Lawrence and Cousins that you can rely on as like decent starters. I'm not sure that you're like, these guys are absolutely going to carry me to a championship. If you had like an elite wide receiver room in that quarterback room, you would feel a little bit better about that. But still, we haven't improved the running back room at all. And what if Tajay Spears has the same role as last year? What if Nick Chubb isn't the same player? Rashawn Johnson's not going to be a viable starter because of DeAndre Swift. I'm just being honest. Like, he will get some goal line work. I think he will take more touchdowns than people want him to, but there won't be consistency. What if the Texans, which they've talked about, they said, we're not done at running back. What if they add a Trey Benson or Jonathan Brooks? So a lot of things are going to have to go your way. I do think Tajay is a better player at this point, but the Titans decided to pay Pollard all that money, so we can't just assume that Tajay is going to be the better fantasy asset. I think most people would actually say Pollard. We're betting on a JSN breakout. We're betting on really to get reliable targets. We're betting on Quentin to be something. And we're also betting on Njoku to get the same usage via Deshaun Watson that he got with fucking old bags
Joe Flacco. Family-friendly stream here.
Sorry.
No. I mess with you. I completely agree. And I think there's a lot of things that have to go right for something to happen. And I don't think my main concern necessarily is the running back room. It's the wide receiver room. I think there's too many question marks. I think having Tajay Spears as like this 50 to 40% role, like workload, player that's going to be getting opportunity, I feel like that's good with Joe Mixon. I think is the question marks on Jackson Smith and Jigba and Quentin Johnson. Even if you add a Malik Neighbors to this team, you still have a gap in your 5th wide receiver, right? Because let's just say everything goes right. Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, let's just say he plays the exact same role he did last year. Calvin Ridley, he steps into a better opportunity. That means Malik Neighbors slots in, and then you have your 5th wide receiver in Quentin, which is still not exciting. And I love Quentin, right? So I'm not
think
necessarily sure where your powerhouse comes from here with this team trying to compete at the wide receiver position specifically.
if this were me, I think this isn't a team that I would say we need to tear it down, but I think we need to be realistic about where we are as well. That means in season, I'm looking at how much can a Joe Mixon get me in return. Is Joe Mixon a top 10 running back at some point? How much can I get in return for a Joe Mixon? How about Nick Chubb? If Nick Chubb, ends up being like the same player, I would also say the same thing about Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, actually, to be honest, if Calvin Ridley is like a top 12 guy through the first 4 weeks, you might want to wait on that and see what that actually turns out to be, because that's new contract. That could be super interesting with that new staff that they've brought in.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know that we tear it down though.
I just think there's a lot of pieces here that we have to wait and see what pans out. That is, you have Jackson, Calvin, Quentin, Joe, Ajay, all have to wait to pan out still, right? Those are 5 of his key players that we still need to wait on here. I mean, you can technically throw Garrett Wilson in there because we haven't seen him with Aaron Rodgers, but if it doesn't pan out, it's tough. I think if everything goes right, everything is perfect. And someone brought up a good thing here. What pick is JSN valued in the draft? What if we sell JSN to get another pick into this draft, but still another question mark? I think he was more asking his question, but for himself. But I mean, it brings me to the point of why I was thinking about selling Jackson Smith. When you saw that video that came out this past week, who I'm panicking on.
Came out this morning.
Today, excuse me, who I'm panicking on. What can I get for Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Yeah. 108, 109 is kind of that territory according to Keep Trade Cut, which, again, not reliable always, but still the most widely used trade calculator out there.
Sure. And can I get at the 108, 109? Is that Adonai Mitchell who goes to the Bills, or who goes to a team where he can instantly, we know the pathway to be the wide receiver one is there. And if you watch that video, we kind of had this conversation breaking down Jackson Smith and Jigba. And, I think we both kind of see it from the same, a little bit, we can see the pathway of him being wide receiver one, but we can see the pathway of him just being this role player for this team potentially. It just all depends on how it works out there. I
was trying to find if I had the 108, 109. The guys whose name is Seattle Stewhawks has the 109. Surely you can work out a trade with him.
I want 2 first-round picks. You're a Seattle fan, right? Nah, I'm joking.
No, but can you get the 109 plus one of those seconds? He's got, what was it, 205? Is that what he had?
Yeah, 206.
206. I mean, I would do that for sure.
Yeah.
But to me, I would be the players.
This is a whole
trade
team
away in season. And
the thing is,
that would be Calvin Ridley, probably not JSN, but Tajay Spears. Justin Fields probably doesn't fit into that, but Joe Mixon fits into that. Nick Chubb. I do not personally plan on building around a Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb. And with all due respect to Tajay Spears, y'all know I loved him earlier in the season, but if Pollard is there for 3 years, at minimum, that does limit his ceiling. So all 3 of these names in season, I would probably be looking to pivot off of them because I do have some good pieces. I can make the playoffs, but ultimately, our goal isn't to make the playoffs, it's to win the whole thing. And this team is not in a position to win the whole thing. I do love that you already have 2 first-round picks next year, so you're already kind of looking towards the future. But also, all these picks right here, all these 5th-round picks, I would turn all of these into 1 second, if that's possible.
Right.
1 second, even if it's 2025, that just is not going to matter to your team at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, we just saw Joe Mixon go in one of our leagues for an early second.
Yeah, he went for the 203.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe Joe Mixon is somebody to trade now, because if they do draft another running back, which I don't know how you feel about this, I actually do believe they're going to draft another running back, but somebody to complement Mixon
Yeah, I
more.
think Mixon's the guy after they gave him that contract.
Yeah, there's more of a compliment. So
how would Mixon improve his value to be more valuable than the 203 next year? I just don't see that happening.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's best to do it now, and I think his value drops if a pass catching back comes onto this team after the draft. Bucky Irving comes into this team. Maybe somebody likes Bucky Irving, and Aldrick Esme comes into the team. Depending on if people love Aldrick Esme, maybe he has the Tank Dell effect, or the Tank Bigsby, effect, with Travis Etienne, right? I think maybe selling him before the draft might be the best case scenario.
What's a team that has an early second that we could point to?
Well, you said the 203, so let's go
straight there.
This guy,
Team 4, has no running backs of note at all, and he has a 201.
Team 7, well, he's not a competing team, sorry. But he does have the 203 and 204.
Well, who else needs some running backs but looks like they're competing? That guy's probably fine at running back.
It's really just the top teams. That's the hard part.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Like the 203 or the 204, we would do that in a heartbeat. Any of those deals that you can get done right now, I would get them done, because I think the way I'm playing this team right now is like. Okay, can you hear me? Talk for me, Badaki. Okay, let me fix that. It's doing that weird thing. All right, you should be able to talk now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I actually wouldn't even be opposed to trading away like a Kirk Cousins, if I got an offer I couldn't say no to.
Well, I just bought Kirk for the 111, so if you want to go into the back of the first, but my team is more of competing, so that's a little bit different. But
yeah, I think you might as well just hold him.
Yeah, might as well hold him.
Yeah, this is a tough one, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a very difficult one.
I just think there's a lot of
premium on the tight end.
No, there's no premium. I think there's just a lot of question marks, unfortunately, where we believe these are a lot of like buy low, wait and see type of players that, you know, we've either bought at some point in time, or we've said, hey, like, you need to maybe sell them. I would even say the same thing for Tajay Spears. Like, is there somebody that wants to sell, give me Tajay, or loves Tajay Spears and gives me a good value because they believe he's the guy? I'll do that as well.
Yeah, same thing as Joe Mixon. You know, one thing that could make a lot of sense, and right now might not be the time to do this, but pivot off of Garrett Wilson. And it's not because I don't believe in Garrett Wilson, it's because your team isn't good. And I think you know that. Your team isn't good enough to win a championship. Not that it's not good. That's probably rude. It's not bad. It's just not good enough to win a championship. And Garrett Wilson is still, by most, viewed as a top 5 to 7 wide receiver in Dynasty. So I would like to pivot off of Garrett Wilson and get a future first. Because, again, I just don't think this team is truly competing right now. Keep in mind that we don't know if JSN's going to take the next step. We don't know if Calvin Ridley's going to be good in Tennessee. You know, so there's just too many question marks to really bet on this team as like a true championship contender, even if things go well in the draft for you. But the names that I would like to pivot to off of Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Let's look at the community. Like, as crazy as it sounds, I'd be willing to pivot to Drake London. All these, you're getting something in return for them. But Drake London, for sure. And that would create a nice little stack with Kirk Cousins. But obviously, the trade back has to be worth it. I don't think I'd pivot to DJ Moore for this team in particular. But Nico Collins and Tank Dell, for sure. Of course, we're getting a lot more in return for those guys than we are Drake London, based off community values. Rashee Rice, y'all know I would always pivot to a Rashee Rice. Zay Flowers, and all these are going to give you more or less return. And keep in mind, guys, nobody doesn't want Garrett Wilson on their team. Everybody wants these players, right? But for example, would you do Rashee Rice in the 106 from this Team 4? Because that would be an easy no-brainer for me.
Rashee Rice in the 106, yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Let's take that. Let's look at some other options. We talked about Rashee Rice. Or if he wants to keep the 106, I think I would do Rashee Rice plus his 2025 first plus like Dotson, for example. What was some of those other names? Who has Drake London in this league?
I think it's one of these juggernaut teams at the top.
Is it?
Yeah, Team 1. He has the 104, 111.
So this guy probably could afford to make a move like that, where he sends away what he would be perceiving as like a less valuable player to go out and win it. So can you go out and get a Drake London? I think he had the 111. And you might even be able to get the 202 in that as well. That could be like your initial. Zachary says he wants Garrett a lot. Great. So can we get?
I mean, yeah. What has he offered? I think.
Can we get Drake London the 111 and the 202? Or how about this? Can we get Drake London? This would be my ideal scenario. Plus Tank Dell. Hey man, you got a great team. Why don't you consolidate? Right? Both of those offers, I think, are massively helping your team in the end.
Yeah, my guy has literally, 2, 4, 5 running backs in the top 12. That's crazy.
Yeah, he can afford to make an all-in move. He 100% can. He also has a 104. You can get Neighbors or a quarterback there. So this dude absolutely should be open to trade offers, and I just don't see why he would. I mean, I would even pivot to an Olave. Like if they're, I know we always talk about pivoting off Olave, but
off Olave,
I would 100% pivot to Olave if it also gets me. What's this guy have? Like the 110 or his 25 first? Like 100%. That's a move that I can make. At the end of the day, when you have a team that you think just isn't good enough, you're trying to look towards the future and names that you can build around, and ultimately good draft capital that you think can help you get to that next level at some point. Jalen Waddle. Would you do Jalen Waddle and a 25 first? Because I know I would.
Yeah, I mean, if it can get it done, sure, I'm happy to do that.
I'm just trying to think of were there any other names that I talked about that we didn't go through?
Jalen Waddle.
Zay Flowers, that would take a lot more. So Zay Flowers, let's probably take off the board. We'd rather go out and get a Waddle on that guy's team. But I think personally, if you get one of these deals done, Badaki, where you pivot off of Garrett Wilson, you can get future draft capital, that could also trigger you to feel good about, okay, let's be realistic. I'm not winning a championship this year. Let's be realistic. Joe Mixon's not going to be worth more than a 2024 early first value next year, right? We can pivot off of him. Maybe Calvin Ridley becomes a name that is more attractive to people in season. But again, if our goal is to make the playoffs, then some of these moves you might not want to make. But if our goal is to win it all, we got to be realistic with where we are. And I think right now we're just not good enough.
Yeah, and I think it's probably not something that you wanted to hear there, Zachary, but I know because you said you pushed back to be, going all 2024. That kind of didn't work out with you getting Quinton, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, unfortunately. And now you're probably gonna push back again here, but I think there's too many wait and sees. And if you really think this team can compete, then I would say the best thing, if there is a scenario that you really wanted to just wait and see, you wait until in season to sell these guys, because if you're really banking on that to happen, and that actually pans out, then you either keep him or you sell them for a haul. But at the same time, just depends on how you really want to approach it there. Yeah, and those other second round picks, you just go best player available. By the way, the 207, the
I
211.
think literally best player available in the truest sense of the word, like wide receiver, running back, any position.
Yeah, exactly. So
I do think Daniels and May and Neighbors is a great combo though to add to this team. Like you're don't get us wrong, there is a scenario in which you are competing, but I just don't think there's a scenario. Just everything has to go right for you to be a serious contender.
yeah,
And that's typically not how it works, you know.
and I think like you can like realistically this team is 2 to 3 players, or I would say 3 to 4 players away from competing if it all pans out. But instantly, if they don't pan out, you need a whole new team. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Right. Let me make 2 or 3 trades. It's gonna work out. But everyone else fails. It's like, damn, like I shouldn't have made those trades, right? So
yeah, he says if I want to blow it up and punt this year, do I sell the running backs? And yes, I would. I know Joe Mixon just got that
3-year contract.
3-year contract, is it? Yeah, he'll be 28 soon. And we just know, like, history tells us most running backs do not perform the same way once they hit that 27, 28, 29, 30 range. So, like, guys, if you think about it from this perspective, Joe Mixon has not been bad for fantasy in the last couple of years, but he has not gained value at all, and he's only gotten older, right?
He's never gained value, and he's every single year, if I'm not every single year, but like, I would say, 3 of the last 4 years, he's finished as a top 10 running back.
I would be 100% happy to hold my hand up if I'm wrong, but I do not see a scenario in which he's more valuable next year than he is right now after he just got a contract with a new team.
I completely agree. And I still think he will be good like for a win now fantasy team.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially him going to the Texans, who's going to be a high, we kind of expect a high power scoring team now there with CJ Stroud. If I'm not mistaken, I think their offensive line is better than the Cincinnati Bengals. I could be wrong off the top of my head. I wonder what PFF has the Texans O-line graded. And we saw all those missed opportunities at the goal line with Dameon Pierce. That just goes to Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
And Devin Singletary is no longer on that team. So I think that's pretty big.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Zachary, let us know if there's anything that we didn't answer or anything that we didn't cover that you wanted us to cover. I would say Trevor Lawrence is not a sell right now. To me, he's a strong hold. And to be honest, there were actually quite a few moves that really hurt you this offseason. Justin Fields, that entire situation really hurt your team. Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard being added, that really hurt your team. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Tyler Lockett getting restructured. That probably hurt your expectation of a JSN. So it's just a little bit unlucky, but doesn't mean these players will be bad. It just means now is a tough time to compete. So let us know if there's any questions that we didn't answer that you wanted us to cover. Whoa, take it easy says, just want to thank you guys for the format of your uploads. Love how I can watch them in their entirety or quickly find pertinent player information when researching. You love to see it. We appreciate you.
That's
man.
awesome.
Thank you for thanks for watching our content as well. So let us know. Let us know if we didn't answer anything. By the way, if anyone out there is watching and you want your team reviewed, y'all know, very simple. All you gotta do is become a mother flocker member with the code LAND. We put a direct link in the chat.
I think someone's at the door. Give me a second.
That's all right. But yeah, let us know. Zachary says, feeling like it's time to punt. He says, can you tell me what I should do, what I should trade my 25 picks for if I want to try and hard for the playoffs? Here's a difficult part though. Like, typically just telling you, like, in my experience at least, typically the Dynasty community is always looking at the next draft and they're like super excited about it. You know, in 2020, oh my God, the 2021 draft. In 2021, oh my God, guys, the 2022 class is ridiculous. In 2023, oh my God, the 2024 class is just unreal, right? For the first time in a while, that does not feel like the consensus amongst the Dynasty community. For the first time in a long time, people are actually undervaluing a future class rather than overvaluing a future class. So the reason I brought that, because I felt like it's important context for me to tell you, like, it's not really a great time to sell the 25 picks. I think it's a great time to buy them, because for the first time in a long time, people are undervaluing a future class. So yeah, the 25 picks, you'll probably get like a starting wide receiver or a low level quarterback, but not much more. Like, you might be able to wiggle your way into like a Diggs for sure if it's a late first. Thinking about like wide receiver values right now, you'll probably be able to wiggle your way into like a Tank Dell, a Higgins, a Zay, maybe an Addison or a Rice, a Metcalf. But it's just, it's a weird year. It's a weird year, and I understand it because people don't know the players that are going to be drafted yet. But we talk about it all the time, how people overvalue their opinion of a future class. So yeah.
I think like this year, or going to 2025, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't feel like there's any big names coming in at what feels like the big positions in quarterback and wide receiver. I felt like the past 3 years, maybe even 4 years, we were already talking about, bro, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, the Jamar Chases. We said last year, or this year, is Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr. We said that last year. Or technically, we said Marvin Harrison last year. It was Malik Neighbors at the time. I think some people were catching on to Malik Neighbors. But you get what I'm saying? Like, there's no one talking about, at least not in my ears, what I'm looking at any like big players in wide receiver and quarterback at the moment. There's still like a lot of, someone can emerge, but like I feel like we had at least one at quarterback and wide receiver.
I think people are talking. I just don't think everyone's in the Dynasty in the Devy community. But there are certainly names that people love. Let me just find that video that I brought. When did you have your baby? It was like mid-Feb, wasn't it? That's when I made that video. I'm pretty sure. But man, when was that video made? Maybe it was at the end of Feb.
I'm pretty sure you did like a 25 class on your Devy channel, didn't you?
I'm okay, here it is. I just found this video. Okay, so first off, the 2025 class, which is not being discussed enough, is one of the better running back classes we've seen in quite some time. At least at this moment, it projects to be that way. But every year, first round rookie picks emerge, and no one's talking about them the year before. Every year it happens. Remember in 2023, Anthony Richardson, when his last year as a collegiate starter, when he went into his last year, he had 66 career passing attempts. He had 66 career passing attempts the year before he went into the NFL draft. Was anyone talking about him in the Dynasty community? No. How could they? How could they? Right? Zay Flowers, the year before he went into the NFL draft. No one knew him because he played at Boston College. His senior season is what put him on the map. Rashee Rice, people liked Rashee Rice, but no one was talking about him as a second-round pick. Jameson Williams. I know it's not a great example because he hasn't put up big numbers, but that has more to do with his injury, in my opinion. He wasn't able to establish himself, but he had 15 receptions in his first 2 collegiate seasons before being a first-round pick. Ken Walker. When he transferred to Michigan State, he was nowhere near being a top 3 or a day 2 pick in the NFL draft the year he was drafted. Trey McBride averaged 25 receptions before his breakout season at Colorado State, the year he was drafted. In 2020, Joe Burrow comes out of nowhere after being a 5th-year senior. Justin Jefferson had a good sophomore year, but he wasn't in first-round talks until his 18-touchdown season with Joe Burrow. Brandon Ayuk spent his first 2 collegiate seasons at a community college before he transferred to Arizona State for his senior year and being a first-round pick after that. Every single year, there are players that come out of nowhere that end up being valuable dynasty players. And this is the first year that people are undervaluing a class. And I get it because for a while it's been like Caleb Williams, Drake May is there, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. It's been so easy because we all know these names and we love these names. There are good players in the 2025 class. There are players that we haven't even heard about that will be drafted in the first round. You haven't even heard of these names. I haven't even heard of these names. They will emerge out of nowhere. But this is still a good class. It just doesn't have the strength that people want it to have at quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think it has the backing.
Shador Sanders could be a great player. Drew Allar is a 5-star recruit. He hasn't put it all together. Same with Connor Wegman out of Texas A&M. Jackson Dart has made some big strides. And who knows? Quinn Ewers, we know how talented he is. He's just never put it together. What if he puts it together? We know that if you put it together and you are a highly looked at recruit and you have one good season, even if it's a 5th year, what happened with Joe Burrow? Then you can find your way into the first round. But the running back class is stacked. You got Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, Nicholas Singleton, Damian Martinez, Ollie Gordon, Amari Hampton, Trevor Etienne, who just got in trouble with the law, Jordan James out of Oregon, Devin Neal, who's great. And by the way, Luther Burden is an elite prospect as of right now. If you look at his production profile, Luther Burden, shades of Jamar Chase out of Missouri. Evan Stewart was in a terrible position last year. He's at Oregon now. He will put up huge numbers. He's an incredible prospect. Emeka Egbuka's in the class. Tet McMillan's in the class. Tet McMillan is super underrated. He might be the next Drake London. So only reason I say this is, we don't know the names yet, but that doesn't mean it's a bad class. So if everyone's consensus opinion is get rid of 2025 picks, it's a bad class, then I'm going to go out and buy 25 picks. Do you know what I mean? I'll do the opposite of that. So yeah.
Yeah, look, I hear you. I think it just all depends on how you want to build it there, Zachary. So if you do want to keep your 25 picks or sell them,
do you think you could sell 25 picks to get in 2024 right now? Because I don't.
Sorry, say that again.
Do you think you can sell 2025 picks to get into the 2024 class?
I think there's some people that would do that, yeah.
Okay.
100%. If I can sell a random 25 first to get into at least the top 7.
No one's doing that.
Yeah.
Come on.
There you go. Then I'm not doing it.
Yeah. It's just not happening. Like this class of top 7, no one wants to get out of. No, I could be wrong.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I think that is true, but I'm saying like if there's somebody out there that wants to do it, someone out there that's like, you know what, I'm just rebuilding, and they really love this class, or they don't want to like bank on this class because they don't believe in the top. They don't believe in the Brian Thomas that goes in the middle of that class. They don't believe in the Adonai Mitchells, or what if they have a bad landing spot? I think maybe somebody would potentially do it out there. I think we could potentially find trades like that now. But would we do that? Probably not. Not if it's not in the top 7.
Yeah, so you got some options there. We'll leave about 30 seconds here if you have any final questions for us. And of course, I saw Shrimpy said, no one's offering this. I'm not getting this for Garrett Wilson. We say this so often, but I know not everyone watches our streams consistently. The point of these reviews are not to tell you that every single one of these deals, hey, you send this deal, it's done. You get this trade. It's going to happen for you. It's all about putting your foot in the door. I'll tell you this, 95% of the trades I send will not end up in a completed trade. It's those 5% where someone's, my interest is piqued. Let's start countering. Let's get a deal together. It's all about putting you in as many doors as you can get into to try and improve your team. And it's tough. It is not easy improving your dynasty team. It is more difficult today than it's ever been. It does take a lot of effort. It does take a lot of time, right?
No question.
It takes serious time to put together deals and try and get into a couple doors. But hey, that's it for today, guys. Go ahead and hit that like button if you don't mind. Simple way for you to help support the channel. Again, if you do want your team reviewed, all you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. There's a direct link in the chat. And hit the instant access button if you are going to sign up. That way you don't have to wait for your trial to end to be eligible for a team review. But that's it. We appreciate you.
Yeah, all love, man. Make sure you use your fancy hotline as well.
Yeah, we'll be live tomorrow night, rookie draft. So we'll see y'all there. And all love. We appreciate you.